Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Shawn Poteet, manager of Leaf Brothers Cigars in West Des Moines, Iowa. And welcome to our newest episode titled Cut, Light, and Enjoy Your Cigar. Using the three most common and traditional types of cutters today. Using the guillotine cutter for our first demonstration, I will show you in the area which you want to slice the head and cap of your cigar. The cap of the cigar is commonly visible here. The next part of the cigar you'll be looking for is called the shoulder. The shoulder of the cigar ends at the last line below the cap. Position the open guillotine cutter blades above that very line. Relatively firm and slowly squeeze the guillotine blades together using your fingers. This should create a satisfactory opening. After making such cut, simply perform a slight draw from the cigar to measure the airflow. A lot of the Nicaraguan cigar factories, Dominican or Honduran, also have their own draw testing machines, which for an investment is worth every penny. Now before we get to my personal favorite cigar cutter, I'm going to show you how to cut a torpedo style cigar as well. The steps are identical as the first cigar we cut, except for the position above the shoulder line. You may need to cut twice using your guillotine, always making your first cut conservative, whether it's your torpedo or your Parejo style cigars. You never want to cut below the very last line, as I've shown you, on the shoulder. This will put your cigar at great risk of unraveling. Whenever you're using a guillotine cutter, whether it be at your local cigar lounge or maybe at your house, one that you bought, or one of your friends, it is important that you have a guillotine cutter that is efficient for your predominant ring gauge you enjoy in your cigars. If you prefer a Gordo or Toro Grande, a Magnum, any cigar that is around a 60 ring gauge, I preferably recommend that you get a 64 ring gauge guillotine cutter. It will give you the flexibility to create the precise, clean, and cut desired. If you happen to enjoy cigars that have a smaller ring gauge, then a more traditional 54 or 56 gauge guillotine would be the one you want for an accurate and level cut. If you're unsure of what kind or size of guillotine cutter you want starting out, I would preferably recommend one with a complete backstop like this one here. This type of guillotine cigar cutters are ideal for people who are beginning or novice who may not know exactly where to cut at risk of putting your cigar to unraveling. Essentially, the backstop guillotine cutter will guide you for a correct way of cutting your cigar and preventing you from cutting off too much. Almost with the guillotine cutters with the backstops, essentially they're almost like training wheels for the beginners. But even the most veteran cigar aficionados can appreciate the design and style of such cutters. Personally, as far as the three types of most common cutters that are used, the V-cut is my favorite. The V-cut has traditionally a backstop in it built already. But the V-cut, making it a V-type cut, of course, these make a very deep cut into your cigar, keeping the cap intact. This V-cut will give you the perfect draw. Now, as well, with these V-cuts, there's also the punch cutter. These are very traditional as well. I know you've probably seen them a lot of machine-made cigars, but as well, the punch cut simply is as it says. Most people, when they are using the punch cutter, will usually wet the end of the cigar first, making the punch cut a little more efficient and puts your cap at less risk of being cracked. So when it comes to lighters and lighting your cigar, we have 3 to 4 options. We have your single flame, double flame, triple flame, and the quad flame as well. As far as your triple flame, you have your traditional triple flame, or you have what is my favorite lighter of the 3 or 4 is the inline 3. For the first one, we'll go over the single flame torch. So when you're using your single torch lighter, as most people don't realize or know that when you are lighting a cigar initially, whatever lighter it may be, they don't want the cigar and directly on top of the flame. What you want to use is actually the heat from the flame to ignite your cigar. Now when you use the triple torch, you have your either your traditional triple torch, or my favorite, the inline. Now with the inline, not only are you getting more flame power than you would a single torch, but as well, when making touch-ups, it's a lot more precise around the edges. You may not have a lighter on you, but you have matches instead. Those are also ideal. But when using a match, of course, you may have to use multiple just to light your cigar, as the ways you probably would as a torch compared to your traditional lighters that you'll need more flame.